So you can see that the assignment details kind of explain some of the things that will be in it, and include links to things that are important. So make sure you're reading through these details really carefully. I have the evidence planner itself pulled up. And I just want to talk about some of the things in it as a little bit of an explanation in this video, just like a quick review. There are lots of terms involved in here, like talking about evidence, for instance, and types of evidence, and logos, pathos, ethos, relevancy, accuracy, credibility, things that we've discussed before and that we spent some time on in the video from last week. I've also, just so you know, linked a list of articles that go over a lot of these terms. So if you're going to answer this question and you're like, wait, what is logos again? If you look back at the announcement, there should be a list of resources, a bullet pointed list, where you'll see ethos, logos, and pathos explained with through a link to one of the articles that we have in the class. So if you want a refresher, I've got links for these terms in the announcement. So basically what you're going to be asked to do is first, this is going to be a summary of the article by Larkin, Many Colleges Fail to Teach Critical Thinking Skills. So you're going to include the information that you would need because you're going to be writing a summary. So you can see it breaks down the information that you would put into the article, your rhetorical information, plus your topic, the claim, and then the main points. So this is just asking you to pull out all the information that you're ultimately going to include in your summary paragraph. The evidence asks you to identify pieces of actual evidence and quote them from the article that support the author's claim. This is a lot like what we've done already in planners before and worksheets before. For the fallacies section, I have included a link to the fallacies article that is in the announcements. For this, you're going to be looking for logical fallacies. You're going to be looking for moments in the article that don't quite make logical sense. So you can see that it wants you to pull out a couple different fallacies, and then it asks for the type of fallacy. And I'll just show you the article itself, or I'll pull up this is the article that I've linked. Another way to find it, if you're not going through the announcement, is to go to the learning materials. And you can see there's a whole article on fallacies, which are errors in reasoning. So these are some of the types that are mentioned here. These that are pulled out here, these 4 are listed as common logical fallacies, and they happen really frequently. So if you're trying to identify an example of one of these, look for a hasty generalization first. Search the article for a red herring. There are some other fallacies down here. So if you find something that you think is an error in reasoning in the article that you're reading, the Many Colleges Fail to Teach Critical Thinking Skills, if you find something that feels like an error in reasoning, but you're not sure that it's one of these 4, you can look through these and see if maybe it's one of these. You can also try Googling fallacies because there's lots of different names for informal logical fallacies. Many different names for informal logical fallacies that exist. These are just names that you can give to a grouping of ones that kind of feel similar. But what you're really looking for when you're looking for a logical fallacy is an error in reasoning. It's helpful to be able to identify them because logical fallacies are often thrown into arguments to try and persuade us without really giving us good, strong fact. So one of the things that is important to do when you evaluate is to say, is this article based in factual, statistical information, or is it all just a bunch of logical fallacies? Is it a bunch of errors in reasoning being used to justify this person's not really well considered opinion? It's important to think about these things as we evaluate. So the article here, the worksheet here is going to ask you to try and find an error in weakness. And it says down here, if applicable, identify the type of fallacy. So if you're like, oh, this person made a hasty generalization, which is when somebody makes a generalization based on not enough, not a representative or not a high enough quantity of information. If somebody makes a hasty generalization, you can just write that here. What I would like you to do, if you cannot figure out the type of fallacy that your error in logic is, what I would like you to do is include an explanation of why you think it's an error in reasoning. Explain why you think that this line, this piece of evidence, this thing that you located in the article is fallacious. And I'm encouraging you to try and find 2 of these because really logical fallacies are everywhere. I'm sure there's at least 1 in this article. There's probably 2, maybe 3. So this is an exercise in trying to figure out if there are fallacies in the article. If you can only find 1, you can write like, not applicable, I couldn't find another one for weakness or fallacy too. But I want you to try to push yourself to see if you can find some of these errors in reasoning and read that fallacy article to help prepare you for it.